Welcome back to Cattleman to Cattleman. I'm Kevin Auctioner. Calving is well underway on our ranch and on ranches all across the United States now. And that begs the question, what's the market outlook for these calves being born right now? With us to tell us more about that is Duane Lenz from CattleFax. Duane, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks, Kevin. Hey, it's great to see you. We're happy to be here all in one place.
Absolutely. Well, let's get started with this recent placement number that we saw out on that report. What did that number tell you, and what does it mean for beef cattle producers?
Yeah, Kevin, the last on feed number we had, placements were up just a little bit. I think I'm going to go back, though, over the last 3 months, placements into feed yards are down over 400,000 head. Wow. So that's a reflection of a smaller calf crop, a smaller cow herd that we have coming on. Long term, we think that's positive for prices because obviously we're not placing the feedlot. It suggests a smaller fed cattle supply in the second half of this year.
One thing that's not as positive for prices is these grain markets. Tell us what's been going on there and what that means for beef cattle producers over the next 12 months.
Yeah, Kevin's been the big story in the industry, and it means a lot of things for us. It's been it's a big crop. It was a big crop last year, but exports, both of corn and soybeans, have been extremely large and it's tightened up our available supply. So as you work that bet for the cattle prices, starting on the feedlot side, live cattle, initially it's a tough deal because costs go up so fast that people aren't expecting it. It's a shock to the system. It's a little bit of a drag as people try to sell cattle. Longer term, it's considered a bit of a positive because if they do, in theory, feed cattle less corn, shorter period of time, carcass weights come in smaller, it reduces supply of beef out there in the coming months. Now, we look at the other segments. Feeder cattle and calf prices usually take it on the chin. Mm-hmm. If you're in a feedlot and you're feeding cattle, the first expense you have, of course, is when you buy the animal, and that's your biggest expense. After that, the second biggest expense is how much you feed them, how much corn you have to feed them. If those corn prices are higher, that money has to come out of someplace, so it typically comes out of a purchase price. So it will have a negative effect on feeder cattle and calf prices. Hopefully, longer term, if fed cattle market can work higher, you'll gain some of that back. But we've seen that in the feeder cattle market here over the last month or two. It's been a struggle when corn went up like it did.
And certainly it all starts with beef demand. Let's take a step back a minute and just tell us what you see happening relative to the key trends that have been driving beef demand and subsequently cattle prices.
Oh, well, corn's a big story, but demand is a huge story for us, and it's all good. Excellent beef demand, both internationally. We've seen South Korea step up. We've seen China step up in a large way, big player Mexico to some degree. So demand internationally is very strong. Excellent demand for beef here at home as well. People staying home. They're still even in the middle of the winter. Seems like we've been able to move a lot of steak items, grilling steaks, doing it in the oven, trimming's been big. So that's a really good picture for us. We're really friendly on beef supply, beef demand going forward because we assume in time restaurants will start to reopen and be able to serve more customers. And they're going to have to step back into this beef market to buy the supplies they don't have right now. So going into spring, especially with grilling coming up, restaurants coming back online, we think that beef demand is going to be extremely supportive, extremely good for cattle producers.
That's great news. Hopefully people have learned or relearned how to cook beef and how to be successful with it at home. So tell me this, Duane, as producers look ahead over the next 12 months, what would be 2 or 3 points you would make in terms of the things we can be doing to set ourselves up for the best chance of profitability in 2021?
Well, Kevin, as we mentioned, we see tighter supplies and better or good beef demand, as good beef demand as we had last year. To us, and what CattleFax is trying to tell our customers is let's be patient with this market. The market's going to have a seasonal trend to it, obviously, but we think especially in the second half of this year, prices of all classes of cattle are going to be higher, maybe substantially higher than they were the same time in 2020. So don't be in a hurry. Of course, we always have to watch your costs. That's not going to go away. We got to watch this weather. Still dry through a lot of the country. Are we going to get some help with the weather or not? Be prepared for that. But all things equal, be patient selling cattle this year. You got to wait a little bit longer. You not necessarily take the first bid. let's wait it out. Let's see how these prices are as we go through the balance of the year, and maybe we can have a great year here in 2021.
I sure hope so. Thanks, Duane, for your time today.
You bet. Thank you. Appreciate being here.
Now, for more in-depth information from CattleFax, the 2021 Outlook session is going to be part of the Cattle Industry Convention Winter Reboot. That's February 23rd and 24th. It's a completely virtual event, so you can get even more information from the experts at CattleFax from the comfort of your own home or calving barn. You can get all the details, including how to register, at the website convention.ncba.org.